What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Little Fat Mushy Tove, representing the WCIS. We can inspire someone. OPP only promote positivity. Shout out to Waterbed Hev. Shout out to Uncle DV. Shout out to the community that's all about a unity. What's going on, everybody? How you feeling? Hopefully you're feeling good. Let me go ahead and go live here on the Instagram. All right, let's get the Instagram up and running. All right, everybody settle in. Make sure as you walk in, you make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you hit the notification bell and come subscribe to the channel. Join the community, support the positivity. All right, let me get IG good. Good. Get the camera angle right. All right, I want to be able to make sure we good on all fronts. Hopefully everybody's having a great week so far. Johanna. What up? Johanna's in the building. What's going on, Johanna? How you doing? Let me know how it sounds. Is everything sounding good? Microphone sounding good? Turn it up a little bit. Is the microphone sounding good? I want to make sure that we sounding good out here. All right. Tonight we got a good show. Hopefully everybody's in a good mood. Everybody's feeling blessed. Everyone's had a great day. Looking forward to getting into the end of this week, heading into the weekend. I have a great topic for us to talk about tonight. So it should be a good show, should be a good show. All right, we got everything up and running. Let's let me check the levels right here. We're good. All right, Joanna said everything is perfect. All right, so first of all, let me say shout out to my man Waterbed Hev. He is celebrating his anniversary, his wedding anniversary tonight. So Waterbed Hev will not be on the show tonight. Calm down, everybody. He'll be back next week. He'll be back. Can't break up no happy homes. We ain't out here breaking up no happy homes. So Waterbed Hev, when you watch this, God bless you. God bless the queen of R&B, Rachel. All right, and I hope y'all have a wonderful evening. And what's today's day? Oh, nah, y'all can't make no Scorpios now, so you ain't got to worry about it. Hopefully y'all made some on Valentine's Day, though. All right. Hopefully everybody's feeling good tonight. Tonight we're going to be talking about interracial relationships. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. What do y'all think about them? Do you agree with them? Have you been in them? What are some of the expectations of being with someone from a different ethnic background? What do y'all think about that? I think this will be a good topic, a good conversation for everybody to talk about. We live in the world we live in now. We are unified. We are not segregated. We are a welcome, and we can love amongst one another. Everyone likes what they like. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Let me turn these notifications down. You like who you like. You love who you love. Love has no color. Love has no race. Ashy Larry's in the building. What up, Ashy Larry? All right. But then also when it comes to dating somebody of outside of your race, sometimes it comes with expectations. Sometimes it comes with it may come with some roadblocks. You may feel a certain way. You may think that things are going to be one way and they're not. So that's the conversation I want to have with the people tonight. Have you ever been in an interracial relationship? What are some of the stereotypes you believe when it comes to dealing with people of different ethnic backgrounds? What are some of the difference between dating a Spanish woman, a black woman, a Chinese woman, a white woman? We're going to talk about all of those things respectfully, because everyone likes who they like. You love who you love, and all women are beautiful in their own way. Every woman is beautiful. Men are attractive in their own ways and beautiful in their own ways, but we all like what we like. We have our preferences, and that's what we're going to get into. That's what we're going to get into tonight. We're going to get sticky, icky. All right, so let me Let me copy the invite. All right. So anybody that want to jump in, y'all could jump on in. Also, make sure y'all send Waterbed Hev and his wife Raquel happy anniversary. All right. So for everybody that's watching right now, let me ask you a question. Have you ever been in an interracial relationship? And we all counting black people and Spanish people. We all counting black and Spanish. So we're not just talking about black or white or Chinese or Japanese, or we talking all different ethnicities: Spanish, black, white, Chinese, Japanese, African, Haitian, Trinidadian, whatever it is, different ethnic backgrounds, different races. And what has been some of your experiences? What have been some of your expectations of dating? What have been some of your what are some of the pros? What are some of the cons? Do you agree with it? Do you disagree with it? Let's have that conversation. So everybody in the chat, have you ever been in an interracial relationship? And if so, how did it go? How did it go? Did you like it? Do you prefer to be with your own? If you're black, do you prefer to be with a person who's black, African American? Do you want to do you mind, or do you prefer all right. JoJo's in the building. JoJo's knocking on the door. What up, JoJo? All right, make sure your sound is good. I'm about to bring you in. Make sure everything is sounding good. Make sure your camera's nice and steady. All right, we want to make sure that everybody is good. JoJo is in the building with me tonight. All right, so let's bring JoJo to the stage. All right, let's bring JoJo on in. Hold on, wait a minute. She got to knock on. She knocked on the door real quick. She got to knock on a little bit more. All right, there we go. Now she done knocked on the door. All right.
Hi.
What up, JoJo?
I'm here.
How you doing?
I'm good. I have my day off today.
Okay.
A day off on a Thursday is awesome.
All right, that's what's up. So tonight we're going to be talking about interracial relationships. What do you think about them? Have you ever been in one? Have you been befriended someone or been related to someone who's been in interracial relationships? What are some of the difficulties? What are some of the advantages? What are some of the disadvantages? We're gonna go the whole spectrum. We're gonna talk about it all. So because I honestly believe, this is what I believe. Number one, like I said on previous shows, we are all of the human race. So yes, there shouldn't be that much difficulty dating a black person or a Spanish person or a white person. As long as you love one another, you have that connection, I believe any relationship can work. But to believe that they're going to work without any type of obstacles, I feel like that might be a little naive. They're gonna come. They're gonna be obstacles. They're gonna be things that you're gonna have to overcome. You may have expectations of dating. A white woman may have expectations of dating a black man. A black man may have expectations of dating a Spanish woman. Whether we want to admit it or not, I believe that they are there. Now, whether everyone is comfortable talking about it, that's a different topic. But I do believe that they are there. As a black man, I know that there's going to be a difference between me dating a black woman, a Spanish woman, and a white woman. There are differences.
Yeah.
And if people say no, it's not no difference, well, then that's your opinion. But from what I believe that there are differences because of how we were raised, our ethnic backgrounds, our heritage, our traditions, things that were passed down upon us from our grandparents and great-great-grandparents. And they are there. As individuals, we overcome them. We can love beyond that. We can see beyond some of the prejudice of the past. We can see beyond some of the racism of the past, and we can love a person for who they are. But to say that they don't exist, I don't think that is, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, I don't believe that is true. What do you think about that?
I believe that, like how you were saying before,
you're breaking up a little bit.
The heart wants what the heart wants. So
hold on, Joe, you're breaking up.
No.
Okay, now you good right now.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So like you said before, the heart wants what the heart wants. So like a soul is going to be connected to another soul, whether it's, am I still breaking up?
No, you good.
Okay. So like the soul's gonna want what the soul wants. So whether the person is like white, black, gray, blue, green, whatever, like it's, they're gonna want who they want. So like I do believe there is like a disconnect where I think religion comes into play.
Okay.
Um, I do think when interracial like racial relationships do come into play, like I think religion is something that like hinders them. But other than that, like I I love it. I believe it's beautiful. I believe that like humans like just connecting to another soul is just awesome. Love is love, and it's what it is. Like I'm Puerto Rican and Dominican, and I'm married to a Jamaican. So
Right.
I'm in
Exactly.
a yeah. So like I'm in an interracial relationship. So
Right.
like it.
And it's funny because a lot of people might not even look at it that way
Mhm.
when they see the two of you, because they
Mhm.
see just two. They may see two people of color,
Yes.
but you are an interracial couple.
Yes.
Now, listen what Ashley Larry said.
Yes.
Yes, I have. Let me start off by saying there's only one race, the human race. So the word interracial is flawed. Flawed. I understand where it comes from, though.
Mhm.
All right. Well, I mean, I a lot of people. Let me see how I want to say this. The word is flawed, and unfortunately, the world is flawed.
Yes.
Now, Ashley Larry brings up a great point. Let me bring his quote back up again.
Definitely.
There is only one human race, and the word interracial is flawed. But the world is even more flawed than the word, because the world sees race. So,
Mhm.
in a perfect world, yeah, everyone sees it as there's one race and we're all brother and sister. We're all, we're all equal. There's no real big differences between us because we're all one human race. But unfortunately, that is not how the world sees it. And we know that.
It's true. It's so
we
true.
Go ahead.
So I just had a thought like if we were all colorblind and like the world was actually black and white, we would never like associate color with like
Exactly.
anything. So like the
Right.
idea that like we when we like because we see in color like the idea that we see, oh, that white and black couple, oh my god, why is he with her, like, oh, he's not dealing with the black women, like it's not that. Or even like Puerto Ricans, oh, like the Puerto Ricans, like, because my brothers, I'm not gonna lie, my brothers they were a little upset that I was not with a Hispanic man when I
Okay.
got pregnant or
Right.
whatever. But like it's the idea like they weren't into me. I'm not gonna go to a group of men. I'm not gonna force myself on anybody. So I'm gonna go to where who someone loves me. And
Right.
this Jamaican man, like he was into
Reason.
me. You know, like it wasn't supposed to be what it was, but
Right.
huh?
Now you was freezing up for a
Yeah,
minute.
it is what it is. I know, like my connection is really bad here in Lynchburg. I'm sorry, y'all.
All right. So why do you think that they were? Now this is a good question. Why do you think your brothers were a little disappointed? Now, do you believe? What up, bad girl? Bad girl's in the building. What's going on?
Bad
Welcome to the stream.
girl, what's up?
All right. So, why do you think your brothers were slightly disappointed?
Because they're so one's fully Puerto Rican, one's another Dominican. So Puerto Rican and Dominican. So like it's just the Hispanic culture. You're supposed to stay in your culture. Like you're supposed to just like keep procreating Hispanic
Now let
people.
right. So now
I
let
think.
me ask you a question. Do you, although your marriage goes against that, right? Because you didn't marry and you didn't procreate with a Spanish man, right? Do you think that there's
Hmm.
something wrong with Spanish people wanting their people, or any ethnic background wanting their people to procreate with one another? Do you feel like that's a good thing or a bad thing in general? Is there something wrong with someone saying, look, I understand that you like this man, but I think that you should have children within our own race to make our race stronger? Do you think there's something wrong with that? Or do you think that I can understand where people are coming from?
Yeah.
Which way do you sway when it comes to that?
Like I said, I go back to the heart loves, the heart wants what the heart wants. So I was, I mean,
But
I
is it but is it
understand
but is it harmful to your people? Because I've heard a
harmful
lot
to
of
my
people debate
people.
that. You know what I mean? It's kind of like,
Yeah.
you understand what I'm
I
saying?
don't think,
I honestly believe, I agree with you. You love who you love. You have, if you want to marry someone, you want to have children with somebody, whoever it is, as long as they make you happy, go for it. But now let's take a
hmm
step back and look at a bigger picture. When you're looking at it as your own people, do you think it's
hmm
harmful to bring to bring that into, like procreate with someone outside of your race? Or do you feel like,
I feel like it's because it's like you're kind of sort of making like make believe, like saying like, oh, we're trying to like fully breed our culture, like, and it's really weird at that point. Like it's like, okay, like I can't physically like find, like that means like you're like trying to like set me up with somebody, like blind marriages type kind of thing, and I'm supposed to like mate with this person. Like I say mate because I'm not in love with this person. So you're telling me that I'm supposed to just like mate with this person, have kids, and continue our culture as Hispanics or whatever. Like like our whole universe is so diverse. Like there's no
right,
way that we're going to continue it to be that way. Like there's no way that our universe is going to be Hispanic, like Puerto Rican. You're just 100% Puerto Ricans. Like if you
right,
meet somebody today, you're gonna find that they're like, she's white, she's Mexican, and she's
right.
part
That's the point. That's the
whatever.
point that I was about to bring up. No one's a pure breed.
Yeah. So it's like it's so different. Like it's different from back then. Like it's not the same. So like I think, like I said, the heart wants what the heart wants.
Okay. Uh Ashley Larry said people should vibe with whoever they vibe with. Doesn't matter what color their skin is. If two people are feeling each other, then have at it. Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
exactly.
Right. Now, I agree. I feel like if you love someone, you want to be with that person, go ahead, be with that
hmm
person. Um Now, why do you think, hold on, let me see. I agree with Ashy 100%. Okay, Bad Girl says she agrees with Ashy 100%. All right, Bad Girl.
hmm
Um, so now I'm going to ask you, what are some of the expectations that you have? Like, let's say, what are some of the biggest differences in your mind as a woman, as a Hispanic woman? What are some of the differences? We all have cultural differences, but we are all the same.
hmm
Actually, Larry said we all have cultural differences, but we are all the same. Right. But like I said earlier, unfortunately, the world doesn't see us like that. At the at our core, we all do have cultural differences, and we are all the same. We all men and women. We breathe, we eat, we sleep, all of those things. But um, the world that we live in, unfortunately, doesn't always abide by those rules.
hmm
So it's like we have to deal with both sides of it. We can't just say, "Well, we're all the same and that's how it is," because in the real world, it's not like that. There is a difference when I walk into a very high end, expensive clothing store. they're going to approach me differently than they would approach other people. That's just a fact of life, you know. If I was to sit here
Yeah.
and say, "Nah, you know, it's pretty much the same," I would be lying because it's not
Mhm.
true, you know. But when it comes to love, love can conquer that. That's where
Yes.
I agree. That's where I agree. Where love is the great equalizer.
Mhm.
That's love is what makes us all the same. So that's where, and that's cultural bias. Uh, and that is cultural bias. Yeah, it is. And unfortunately, we live in a biased world. We live in a Ashy Larry. I wish we could change the world, but I'm trying to speak in the world that we live in, my brother. You know, like I understand the problem and I understand the world we
Mhm.
live in, but I'm trying to have the conversation within the real world that we are living in because most people do see differences. You
Mhm.
know, so the question I was going to ask you, Joe, is why do you think? Okay, you said your brothers were a little leery of it. So
At first. Yeah.
yeah, at first they were a little leery. So now, where did you think? Where do we get those? Where do we learn this from? Where do we get those behavior, those that mentality from? Because I know
Definitely.
racism is taught.
Mhm.
You know, we're taught to look at each other differently, whether it's taught in hate or taught in warning. You know,
Yeah.
some people because as a little black boy, I know that my great grandmother used to tell me, Tovi, you got to carry yourself a little bit differently. I'm like, okay, what was that supposed to mean? Because you're black. Now, it wasn't taught in hate. It was taught in
Mhm.
Tovi, you got to be careful because you're going to be treated a little bit differently. So it wasn't taught in hate. It was taught in warning. Like, I'm warning you, you may not see it because you're not out in the world yet. But once you
Mhm.
get out there, there's a little bit of a different set of rules for you. So I don't know if it's always. Sometimes people say, "Well, it's taught in hate," but sometimes when you're on the bottom, sometimes it's taught in warning, just to try to warn your child the dangers that lie out there, the bias that lies out there, you know. And this doesn't apply to everyone, but obviously we know it is out there. So
Yeah.
where do you think we is it our parents that's teaching us? Is it what's the main contributor that's teaching people to see each other so differently? From just go
I
back to when you was like a little girl. When did you
I'm
start to
definitely
see the
looking back
difference?
at it like so I it's definitely like parents teaching us that because like I think they subtly like do it like because like they're marrying like my mom is Puerto Rican, my dad's Dominican. So
Okay.
that means like they stayed in the same culture type kind of
Okay.
thing. I have
Right.
an aunt who married she's Puerto Rican and she married a Colombian. So it's the same culture. It's just that thing that like we're not marrying outside our culture. I
Right.
had a sister who went ahead and had kids and married a black man. And
Okay.
I don't really know, like, 'cause she's really, like, she's 19 years older than me. So I don't really know what transpired, like, in that, like, essence, like, back in the day, because it was, like, in the 80s. So it's like, that's when it was, like, really prevalent, like, because I know, like, my brother got like mad because I didn't want to say anything when I got married or got pregnant with my first child and I like
Okay.
married my husband because I knew there was going to be some backlash. It was like I'm just going to do it and I'll tell him later. And he was so mad. He was like, I didn't even meet him. I didn't even do this. I'm like, what does that matter?
Right.
Like, what does it matter that you didn't meet him or you didn't see him or be introduced to him? Like, you're not like, like you're not my dad.
Right. Yeah, he's
Like,
not your dad, right?
you're not my dad. So it's like there was no type of confirmation that I needed from you to tell me to like live my life with this man like for the rest of my life. Like whatever. Like it was just I'm just giving you like notice. Like, hey, I got married. I'm having a kid. You're going to be an uncle. And
Right.
you can't be upset at that. Like I mean, you can be the type of guy that he is. Like yes, I understand why he was upset, but it's my decision. I was a rebel. I think I was born to be a rebel. Like just I just started way too late.
so
Yeah.
so in your past, have you been involved with Spanish men in the past?
No. They're not attracted to me.
So what is
Like
it that you okay, so this is a good question. What is it that you feel, in your opinion, from your experiences, what is it that you feel Spanish men are attracted to?
big butts, small waists, long hair.
So wait a minute. Does the big butt and the small waist and the long hair have to be on a Spanish woman?
I feel like that, yes. I do, like
Right.
especially in my teenage years. Like I was going to a school, John F. Kennedy in the Bronx.
Okay.
Um, like all the females, they big butts, small waists, long hair, whether it was weave or like tracks or whether it was real. Like that's
Right.
just what it was. And I was such a tomboy and just like into myself that like I know no Spanish. No, I'm lying. I don't know if anybody was into me because boys are very secretive and they don't really speak up. So I don't know if they were really into me or not, but I never got any prospects. So I always got it from my guys.
Okay. So
Yeah.
because I mean, even in like when I look back on I mean, I've dated Spanish women in the past,
Hmm.
and I've even went to a couple of Spanish households to be introduced to the parents and the father and the mother, and sometimes it went really good, and then sometimes not so much. Sometimes it was like, I don't think I should be coming upstairs. Let me just walk into the building. I don't think I want to come upstairs, actually, but if you insist. Now, don't get me wrong. When I walked in, everyone was very nice,
Hmm.
very generous, very kind, very, it was a good energy. But I could tell somewhere my spidey senses was tingling, where it was like, they
You're
are
not welcome.
right, they are accepting me,
Hmm.
but they're not necessarily ever going to embrace me,
Okay. Yes.
because
This
of
is true.
I know unfortunately that there's a stigma that comes along with me walking into this Spanish household as a black man. I'm not afraid to say that because I've lived
Hmm.
it, I felt it, and I understand it. Some people may say no, it doesn't exist, but in my world and in my experiences, it has existed. Where I
Hmm.
felt like the young lady likes me, but you see, I think in Spanish households they're a little bit more unified when it comes to family. So when a
Hmm.
woman brings a man home, the parents and the grandparents are thinking about kids and grandchildren.
Yes.
So now it's like, do I want Gloria to have a son or a daughter with Leroy? He seems like a
Yeah.
nice guy, but
But
right. And a lot of people might sit and say that it doesn't exist. But I have to be honest with what I've been through and what I've seen. And if it
yeah.
doesn't exist as much as it used to, God bless each and every one of the people that have progressed and got out of that mentality of, I don't want my Spanish son or daughter to be with a black man or woman, because you do have to come out of it. It I understand where it comes from, but in the world that we living in, I think it's also good to try to come out of it and see past that also. I guess it also depends on how deeply rooted you are in your race and in your heritage and in your ethnicity.
Hmm.
But it's gonna happen from time to time, and you have to be ready to accept it and roll with the evolution. Because it does happen. But I can
Hmm.
honestly say there was times where I didn't feel, sometimes I felt like, yeah, he's a nice boyfriend, but let's just keep it at that. Let's
But
just
that's it.
yeah, let's
That's it.
he seems like a nice guy, but let's keep it at that. And then I've seen instances where it was like, look, if you love him, you like him, whatever. I'm behind it 100%. But I do know it does exist. And I
It
think it's
does.
passed down to us from our grandparents and parents and great grandparents. It's just passed down because I think that they had to live it.
Hmm.
They lived it. So it's very, see, as the generations keep going on and on and on, we will hear about racism and we'll see it, but not as it's not as harsh as it was 80 years ago.
Yeah.
It's not as harsh as it was. So it's kind of like, to a young kid now, they know racism exists, but it's kind of like a myth.
Yeah. Like,
It's
that's
kind of
not
like,
true. Like,
yeah, it's
yeah.
like they don't understand the severity of it.
Yeah.
You go ask a young boy now who's 20 years old, you know, of different ethnicities, black, white, they may say, yeah, racism exists, and I know that it's a part of the world that we live in, but they don't understand, like, someone, losing their life because they're dating someone outside of their race.
Yes.
That's a different level of, wait, you serious? Yeah, that's
Yeah.
how bad it once was.
Or even being lied on, like, because that's most
Whew.
of the times, like,
Yes, being lied on,
yeah.
where someone was dealing with someone, and then it's like, you was in a relationship with this person, but then when everybody find out, it was like, oh, this person raped me, or this person, you
Yes.
know, this person, did something to me that was unwarranted, that was unwelcome, and now that
Hmm.
person gonna lose their life over it. I don't think a lot of the younger generations, as the generations keep going and going and going, eventually that's gonna become more and more distant.
Hmm.
Racism will always be there, but I just don't think that they'll see it as harsh as it once was. So imagine our great grandparents that lived through it. Of course, it's going to resonate with them a little bit deeply, and they're going to teach it. But as
Hmm.
adults, I think we have to be the ones that will stop that cycle and not continue to teach it to the generations coming up under us. You know.
It's so it's so crazy that you say that, because there's times that I would ask my kids, like, they talk about a friend, and I'm like, oh, are they white or black? And they'll tell me, yeah, and it's like, it's just it's just a thing, and then they'll
I'm
ask me, they'll tell me, they'll be like, why does that matter? And I'm like,
right,
oh,
right.
I'm
Well, I
sorry,
mean, I respect.
it doesn't.
I respect your honesty, because a lot of people may say they don't see it, they don't see color, they don't see differences,
Hmm.
but I don't know. Looking
Yeah.
at the world around us, it feel like people still see a lot of different colors and differences amongst us. Let's see what Ashy Larry
It's
had to say.
not to be on some Martin Luther King ish, but you should judge someone by the content of their character, not their skin color. This is true.
All decisions should be based around that. Yeah, you're,
Yes.
you're absolutely right, Ashy Larry. You saying all the right things, bro. you
Come
saying all
on
the
in,
you saying all
knock
the
on the
right things,
door.
bro. You all you gotta do is come and knock on the door. I agree with you 100%. You know, uh,
Yeah.
unfortunately, that's not. But okay, because all right, if that's the case, then even as black people, we have to stop saying, "Oh my goodness, Barack Obama was our first black president."
Hmm.
You just have to say he was the president.
Hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? Because by saying he's our first black president, right there, now you're bringing race into it.
All the time.
So
All
it's
the
like,
time.
how do you get away from it? But you're proud because he's our first black president. But if you want to get away from it, you just have to say he is the new president of the United States. You can't say our first black president. Just like if you say, if women want equality, then in the award shows there shouldn't be uh female artist of the year and male artist of the year. We should all be under the same category, because that's equal,
Yeah.
you know? So in actuality, there are differences amongst us, and there's certain differences that are celebrated, certain differences that are tolerated, But then in certain instances, you saying, a lot of people say, well, everyone's the same and there is no different. But there's too many things that contradict that. So it's like it forces people to have to take a side. And I think that adds to the division amongst men and women and different races, And I wish that we didn't live in a world like this. But I think having conversations like this are good for people to hear that, acknowledging that it does exist, but also acknowledging that everyone doesn't see it that way. And we have to just, you can't, oh yeah, I got, I have a white friend.
Yeah.
No, you have a friend. He's just a friend.
Exactly. But so saying that, like, so I came to Lynchburg. So when you hear Lynchburg, Virginia,
Lynchburg.
Exactly. Yes, exactly.
Where?
Exactly. Lynchburg, Virginia. You think, oh my gosh, I'm going to be targeted like the whole time. Like everyone's going to hate me because of the color of my skin. But like I was embraced. Like I was embraced the moment I got here, and like they love me. So it's like me putting the title that Lynchburg, Virginia is racist. And I mean, it's possible. There's some people who out here who are racist, but not all of them are. So it's like, it's just the same thing with, I don't know how we got to this point, but like but it's the same thing, like just putting like a stigma on like somebody or a person or a place or a thing. It's not right.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Don't judge.
So like you said that your son said, hey, I have a friend, and you asked, are they black or white? How do we uproot ourselves from that train of thought?
I stopped asking them like that because when he asked me,
by asking that question, you're actually perpetuating the problem.
Yes. So, okay, another scenario. Okay. So my son, my youngest son, was being kind of bullied by a kid, and I asked him, I was like, okay, what's his name? And he was like, he said a random name, and I was like, okay. I was like, is he white or black? And he was like, he's black. I was like, makes sense. In my head, I was like, makes sense. Like, but I hate asking that question because it's like, I'm not racist. I try not to be racist. I guess I don't think I'm racist, but the question, like me asking, is he white or black? Like, that's racist. Like that's wrong.
It is. You're right.
It is. It's so
it's
wrong.
Not. I don't think it's hatefully racist.
Yeah.
But it is. Yeah. At the root of it, and if you're going by the definition, yeah, it is racist. Because at the end of the day, it shouldn't make a difference what the race of the person is. It's just like who was bullying you. But
yeah,
as people of color, it's like we want to know. Like, okay, so then why did you want to know? Why did you want to know whether the you ain't got to answer if you don't want. I think I know why, but I don't want to speak for you. If you want to answer, it's fine. If you don't, just remember we on YouTube and it's gonna be out here forever.
Oh my god! You keep putting me on the spot.
I'll say it. To me, what up, BX the Great One with your Rudy Pool candy ass? What up, BX the Great One? I would say to myself, like, if I had a son, it would be like, hold up, you letting little Tommy bully you? Like, whoa, wait a minute, hold on, wait a minute, to my black son or to my spit, like, wait a minute, hold on. And I know, like, I mean, when I'm talking, I just have to be honest, and I, like, a lot of people want to be politically correct, but I'm just being honest. I know that it exists, and we can't overcome it unless we start to talk about these things. We have to talk about it because we all know it exists. So to act like no, it's like nah, because if it didn't exist, the world wouldn't be the way that it is right now.
Exactly.
It's gotten a lot better. Yeah. It's gotten a lot better, but it's, that seeing people for the color of their skin, it does still exist. But go ahead if you want to answer the question.
I'm gonna answer the question.
What up? Shy T is in the building. And if I ever fall. What up? Shy T is in the building. What's going on? Welcome to the stream.
So
what up, Carrie Simon is in the building. I'm sorry. I just want to make sure I acknowledge everyone. I ain't trying to cut you off. What up, Carrie?
Let them know.
My name is Carrie. What up? Carrie is in the building. What up, Carrie Simon? How you doing? Now, Carrie, is this Carrie that is on the PlayStation Network with us, or is this a different Carrie? I just want to understand who I'm talking to, because Carrie could be a guy or a girl. So I don't, All right, go ahead. Answer your question, Jojo.
Okay. So the scenario was he was a school safety patrol, and he told on this kid. He was like, the kid is doing something. He said something to the teacher.
Oh, so your son was out there snitching in these streets?
Exactly. I mean, he was doing his job.
I ain't mad at him. I ain't mad at him.
So that's why I was like, is this kid black or white? And he's like, he's black. I was like, oh, I get now, and I understand. And I'm like, maybe he's jealous of you because, like, you're so cute with your little curly hair, like you light skin, like I don't know, like you so comfortable in your skin. Like I was trying to make it like so that he's like pumped up because he was really feeling down about it. Like he didn't understand why this kid was picking on him. I'm like, maybe it's just because you're like an awesome kid. Like I don't know.
Yo, like, wait a minute. Hold on a second. I gotta. Yo, Carrie, you gotta go take down your government. You got your government name up here, bro. You gotta go take down that government. Hold on. We got another guest jumping up into the stream. She about to knock on the door. All right, we got Jersey Devils in the building. All right, what up, Jersey Devil? Come on into the stream. Welcome to the stream, Jersey Devil. How you doing?
Hi, good. How's it going?
Everything is good. How are you?
Oh, just living the dream.
All right. Just living the dream, having a good old time. It's good to have you on the stream. See JoJo's in the building with us.
I know, my boo. I was watching.
All right. So you were saying, JoJo, that he was doing his job.
And he told on the kid, and the kid went and like started just bullying him. Like, and I got to the point where I had to talk to the teacher. I was like, "Yo, why haven't I heard about this? Like, this has been going on since like a couple of weeks. Like, why is he dealing with this?" And she was like, "Oh, I was trying to deal with it and like talk to counselors." Like, no, talk to me. Like, I'm his mom. Like, I need to know what's going on and like in the scenario so that I can help him adjust to the scenario or to the situation at that point. Like there's always going to be jealous people. Right. Like, I don't know his scenario. I don't know his background. I don't know anything. And I hate to put the stigma of like, okay, he was, he's African American, he's black, like, so I hate to put that on him, but my son is also black. So it's the same thing. I was just worried at that point.
All right. So let's get Jersey into the conversation. So Jersey, interracial dating. Do you agree with it? Do you disagree with it? Are you cool with it? Have you been involved in an interracial? What would you consider to be an interracial? We talking about it all. Like, we just gonna talk about it and be open and honest about it, because if we lived in the perfect world, we all would see it as one race, the human race. Mm-hmm. But we all know that is not the world that we live in. We see color. Color does exist. Now, my question to you is, can love equalize can it eliminate seeing the color completely? Can love erase seeing color? That is the conversation I really wanted to get into. Can love, because we talking about interracial relationships. So can love erase it? where you just don't even see that person as you stated on the show. Like like I said, damn, I completely forgot you're a Spanish woman yourself. I just completely, I don't know if I forgot it or never even registered with me, but I just look at you as my sister, you know, like my strong Nubian sister. I don't know, but
and you know my government.
and I know your government. Yeah, so you know, I just had a moment. But anyway, do you think love can equalize it, erase it, where you really don't see that person's color anymore? Is love strong enough to erase it?
So the questions are,
the first question really is love strong enough to erase color?
No.
All right. Why?
I think that falls under that I don't see color shenanigan speech that people say when they try to prove that they're not racist or they're, you know, down for the culture or whatever, where it's impossible not to see color unless you're colorblind. And even then you see shades. So let's not, you know, pretend. Right. And someone's color is connected to their culture, to their background. So ignoring it is ignoring that part of themselves, their identity, what makes them different or special, or, you know, what makes them their you know, their identity, their cultural identity. Right. So I don't think just because you love or care for someone, you can overlook that, because it should not be overlooked to begin with.
Right.
And on top of that, I mean, for as far as an interracial relationship or intercultural relationship is how I like to see it. I don't, I mean, you know, it falls back onto like same-sex couples or marriage. I see it the same. Like, it's not my business. If it ain't paying my bills or contributing to my household, you know, people do what they do, and that's none of my business. But I see it as love, and it's a beautiful union between two people who can come together in maturity and decide to coexist on this planet. Like, it's a beautiful thing. And
okay. So when you see, okay, let's say, okay, well, I got to ask you this question before I can ask you the next question. What, if you see, oh boy. So if you see, do you see or feel any type of way when you see a woman of color with a white man, or a man of color with a white woman? Neither one of y'all do. Either one of y'all, does it make you feel any kind of way where you see a black man with a white woman? No, not at all.
I think it only bothers me when I see it on social media and it's in the context of putting down another race or putting down another culture because that's what you're attracted to. So saying like, oh, I only like white women because they're submissive, or I only like white women because they don't give me all this attitude that so-and-so gives me. That bothers me because there's no way you could have interacted with all Spanish women, all black women, all white women. So make that generalizing, hurtful statement in order to justify why you're attracted to someone. That bothers me.
Right. So you would rather them speak on why they are attracted, not why.
Just say, I like this person because X, Y, and Z. But you don't have to now degrade a whole culture because you're attracted to this person. That bothers me.
Right. I agree with you. Hold up. We got somebody else knocking on the door. We got Ashy Larry's in the building. What up, Ashy Larry? What's going on, bro?
What up? You and these I am not about to play with you.
Lover of 31 flavors. Welcome to the stream, Ashy Larry. Welcome to the stream.
All right.
I'm not about to play with you. Take the
So, Ashy Larry, I'm going to ask you the same question that I asked Jersey Devil.
Right.
Can love eliminate seeing color? Can the love uplift you past seeing the color in your partner?
Individually, yes, but I mean, as far as like in the society that we're in right now, no, because we've been indoctrinated to think a certain way. No matter what, how you feel about certain people,
Ooh.
it's just the way we were brought up, and you can't erase decades of programming in someone.
Right.
Now, individually, yes, you can overcome that, but like you said, as a society, no, you cannot because
Right.
people think different ways.
So let me ask you this, Ashley Larry. Can you see the and I asked Jojo this earlier. Can you see the positive in people saying we should stay with our own and we should procreate with one another?
Okay, I see the positivity in that, and I agree with it somewhat. But like Jersey was saying, um, the way I approach it is like when you say like when you see a black guy with a white woman, and you hear the black woman, oh, why is he with her? Why is he with her? And then he's saying, well, I'm with her because of this, because what you guys don't do. It's the negativity part that bothers me. I don't give a shit who you vibe with.
Yeah.
Because you love who you love, but when you love somebody in spite of something, that's where I have a problem with it.
Right. Okay, so to shift the question, are there certain expectations? Are there expectations that we all have when it comes to dating certain races? Is there an expectation or something where you like, okay, it's already predetermined, like, okay, if I date this race, it's gonna come, I'm assuming it's going to come with this. And have those assumptions been right or have those assumptions been wrong? I'll go first. So it's like when I was young, I thought, you know, dating a Spanish woman, I always thought all Spanish women were very docile.
Oh God, how?
And I was absolutely wrong.
Yes.
I was like, wait a minute, these Spanish women are feisty. I just thought, and it came in my mind. It came with that expectation. They always gonna be like, because most Spanish women I knew were kind of like quiet, kind of like to themselves. They kind of like stayed amongst themselves. And growing up in Harlem, we had Spanish people. I had Spanish people in my elementary school, and I interacted with them. Some of my best friends are Spanish. I mean, look, half is, like half is Spanish. So I get it. I love Spanish people, but it just growing up when I was younger, most Spanish women were kind of like a little bit more quiet and kept to themselves. Now I'm not sure if it was because in Harlem they were the minority where it was mostly black and then not too many Spanish. So it was like, let me just stay over here to myself. But that was a misconception that I had that, Spanish women were kind of like quiet and docile at all times. And that was an expectation that was quickly quickly brought to my reality that I was completely wrong.
And I
So
think also too, some people think that just because they growing up, we like the men of the family, like brothers and everything, they're not expected to do housework. And so as women or the girls of the family, we're expected to clean and we're expected to help out with the household and we serve food, and so it's like you only see them in that role, that kind of domestic role. And so the
Mm-hmm.
assumption is made that, oh, they're like docile and they, don't speak out of turn and they know their role in the household because that's what you see. And like you were saying about your friend, how the mom came in and served his food while you guys were in the room. And so it's kind of a role that's in a Hispanic household, but that's not all Hispanic women. And so that's just a role that, that is imparted by some women.
all right, what
Yeah.
about you? What about you, Jojo? Do you
Um.
see like a certain expectation of like what's your expectation? Oh, all right. What would be your expectation of dating a Spanish man? Since you're a Spanish woman, what do you think would come with dating a Spanish man? Even though you haven't done it, you are a Spanish woman, so you should know. You would have a better insight of what would be the expectation of dating a Spanish man. what would be the pros and what would be the cons?
Definitely cons, controlling. They're very controlling. Like they want it their way or the highway type kind of thing. And they're very jealous, just like Spanish women. I'm raising my hand. You can't see it. Hold on, raising my hand. Yeah, I'm very jealous. I'm very jealous. Don't look at my guy. Like that's my man. I already put a contract out for the next lifetime. Like I married the same guy. Like so, it's they're very controlling. I mean, I also know that they're very good lovers, is what I heard. From what I heard.
So the cons are jealous and what was the other one? Controlling, and the con are they're like very passionate lovers.
Yes.
All right, Jersey, you pick. I'm not you. You tell me expectation that you would have or have had with dating someone outside of your race, and whether it was true, whether it was false.
I would say so. I have dated outside of my culture, and an expectation that I have when you are pursuing me is that you have to some degree have a foundational knowledge what comes with societally, what comes with having darker skin means. Okay. And so challenges my views, my role in society and how society views me. So I don't want you to come to me like I don't see color and y'all don't have an issue with the police and if they had just obeyed. I expect that when you step to me. That's my expectation. And I've encountered both yes and no. So, some dudes who like, oh yeah, I get it. I may not have lived that experience, but I get where you're coming from enough to let you vent to me your frustrations. And then I've had, knockout arguments on how can you make these statements and you like dark-skinned women.
Right.
Or darker skin. So I've experienced on both sides of it, but that's just my expectation when you're dating a minority or in the minority culture as a whole. Have some sort of knowledge of what are the struggles of this particular culture so that you can relate or at least be open-minded to hear their perspective.
Okay. What about you, Ashy? Larry? Have you dated outside of your race? What were some of the pros? What were some of the cons?
Well, yeah, of course I have, but I mean, as far as like how I go into it, I mean, I don't really look at it, and you can believe it or not, but I just don't go into it expecting a certain type of, I don't know, thinking. What usually influences the relationship, though, is the outside forces, like the girl's family or whatever.
Right, but let's say if you didn't go into it expecting it, right? Once you got there, what was the realization?
I mean, the reality of the whole thing was just what it was. It wasn't, I mean, maybe I'm the wrong person to ask this question, but I mean, I just nothing came with nothing as far as, oh, you should expect this. Oh, you should expect that, because I think the way that you treat somebody will actually, that will kind of play out over the relationship and how it, how it's like I said, I think I'm the wrong person to ask this because I don't really go into any kind of relationship expecting anything, no matter what color she is.
You don't. So you saying you wait a minute, wait a minute.
No, go ahead.
Going into a romantic relationship, you going not expecting nothing.
I'm just
hold on, bro. Wait a minute. Hold on.
I think you got
that. I know if I'm going into a romantic relationship, I'm expecting something. Hold on, bro.
Well, I mean, not in that way. Of course, you hear stories, you hear this, you hear that, but I mean, you just don't feed into it.
Huh?
I said you hear stories about certain women, this, that, and the other, but I just don't go into it, into the relationship, feeding into that belief. It just is what it is when it happens. I just take it as I get it. But I don't go into a relationship expecting, oh, the black girl's going to give you this. Oh, the white girl's going to do this. Oh, the Asian girl's going to be this. I don't believe in that shit because everybody is an individual person. So you
don't think that their ethnicity plays any part in how they carry themselves?
Well, it does because like I said, there's outside influences as far as like their family. I mean, they've grown up a certain way, so of course they're going to be a certain way come into a relationship. But I don't expect it. I don't see it. You know, I treat the girl like she should be treated as a human being.
Okay. Hold on, my camera went out for a second. Give me a second.
So do you feel like in those types of relationships, did that help or hinder you not having any expectation?
I think it helped me because I'm not expecting anything other than, you know, hey, I want to love this person. I want that person to love me back.
Yeah. Which isn't necessarily a bad thing, like going into a relationship not having any expectations, so you're coming in both, you know, kind of blank slate, and then you kind of figure it out as you go. What challenges?
Y'all still hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right, cool.
Were there any challenges you experienced, like coming in with a blank slate, and then like, oh, this is unexpected?
Not really. It really isn't, other than just with the person's family.
Like, you want to provide an example?
Oh no, not going to go into details. Like I said, we're on the internet, and this shit is forever.
Lamont Sanders in the building. What up, Lamont? What's going on, bro? Back. All right, hold on. We got to bring JoJo. I don't know what happened with the internet. It kind of kicked JoJo out, and then it kicked me out too. It kicked me out my own show, bro.
Are not the moderator anymore.
Knock me out my own show, bro. I mean, I don't mind. I don't mind doing a show like this. I could eat some chicken. Can't nobody see me. I could be my introverted self like this. I could just be a voice in the background. Actually, I kind of like this. You big dummy. What up, Lamont Sanders? How you doing, my brother?
The things we would talk about if you just turned the camera off.
Well, see. I think that I mean, yeah, I mean, yeah, I okay, let me see. I like having those conversations. I don't think it's anything. Okay, I think I got it now. Let me see. I like having, okay, there we go. We back, baby. I like having those conversations because they are very they're very important to have those type of conversations. I mean, me personally, there is huge differences when it comes to dating different races to me, but they're not necessarily bad. I like to learn from the different ethnic background. If you're from a different ethnic background than myself, I like to embrace the things that we have in common first, so we can build some type of chemistry and build some type of foundation to build a relationship on top of. That's number one. And then number two, when someone is coming from, you know, they were brought up in a different culture, you can learn so much from that person. So I think that a lot of times we look at it in a negative way when we say the differences, but the differences can also be a really good thing, because now we can teach each other and everyone can see things from both ethnic backgrounds point of view. So I think a lot of times we do look at it in a negative way, but we also got to focus in on the positive of it when you have interracial relationships, or how did you say it earlier, Jersey?
Intercultural
relationships. It teaches each person about the different culture, which is very important also. So you know,
my term, by the way, I'm trying to coin that term.
Oh, well, you should send it out here, girl.
I just want to put it out there.
All right. Well, all right. Hold on. Wait. Everybody, just
start. Do something.
We're gonna do the Men in Black click to everybody who watched this show. All right.
Like Kimberly Crenshaw, who coined intersectionality, my Black queen. I am coining the term intercultural relationships.
Intercultural relationships. All right. So have here's another good question. So do you prefer, like, what is your preference? Like, do you feel naturally at home with your own? Jersey, do you feel that? Look at Larry for the year 2000. Like, do you like growing up? Maybe not now, but growing up, did you prefer to be with your? Did you have a preference? Let me ask it like that. Did you have a preference growing up?
I did. Growing up, I preferred to date outside of my culture.
Okay.
Because that was the thing to do in like my middle school and my high school. And it was just, that's what was popular. And so it was like, oh, okay, why is that? So I wouldn't say that was my preference. That's what I thought everyone was doing. And so I was like, oh, let me check it out, because what is the big deal? And then after I did, I'm like, oh, this isn't any different. And so I don't think I developed my own preference, like who do I feel more comfortable with? I think if I get that vibe from you, then it's you. And so
Right.
you don't have to be like a specific ethnicity or background or culture. But I did growing up, I thought, okay, this is what you're supposed to do, because, everyone had their own preferences, and it did bleed over on me, young and impressionable. And I go, let me check it out for myself. But after I did, I was like, oh, this isn't. This is the same. If you get a headache from no matter what you date, everybody is equally.
Why you gotta say headache? Why you can't say a smile?
You get smiles.
All right. Why can't that be the first thing you say? Why you gotta say headache first?
Well, because I was speaking to my younger self. And so during that time, you don't know what you're doing. Everybody causing some type of grief.
Now, when you're younger, you're supposed to be happier.
Happier causing grief.
Wait a minute. You wasn't happier when you was younger, JoJo? No. Ashy, wasn't you happier when you was younger, bro?
I would say happier, but I think relationship-wise,
I know damn well I was.
It was a headache. So I'm like, what the hell was you doing during that time? Like, girl.
Exactly. You have no idea what's going on. So
Well, because you was exploring when you were young. You were not knowledgeable of it.
It was fun, don't get me wrong, but looking back, I was like, girl, you was a mess.
A hot mess.
A hot mess. I'm glad we didn't have the internet. We had MySpace, and when nobody posted on MySpace. Baby, I was a mess.
That's
Nah, I was genuinely happier when I was younger. That's I don't even have to think twice about that. It was just a simpler time. I was just happier. I was as you get older, you start to obviously you get more responsibilities. Some of us have children. The people that we love start to get older. Unfortunately, the people that we loved and we grew up with start to pass away. And I think when you're young, that's when for most of us, I don't want to say for everyone. But when you're young, I think that's when you're at your most abundant, where you have an abundance of family, you have an abundance of love, you have an abundance of energy, you have an abundance of time. So for me, yeah, I agree with Ashley Larry. I was much happier when I was younger. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm happy now too. I've found happiness as I've gotten older. But I don't think you have to find happiness when you're young. I think it adorns you. I think sometimes as an adult, you got to find what makes you happy. As a child, I think you just wake up happy, just having a good old time. As long as you're not being neglected or abused, and I'm taking that off the table. If you're being neglected or abused or something like that, now that's a different circumstance. But I'm talking about if you're being taken care of by your mother, your father, or both, and they're doing what they're supposed to do, you have a good environment. I think I just used to wake up happy. Even I was in the ghetto, roaches and rats, and I was still waking up happy. Very happy. And I was in the room that I'm sitting in right now was almost as big as my apartment when I was growing up, and I was as happy as can be, sitting there eating biscuits and sausage and biscuits when my aunt would come home and make them, and it was just a happier time, And I think that's also back in the time when you maybe I didn't see race back then when I was young. I just enjoyed being around everyone. I think it starts to sink its teeth into you as you get older.
But also you grew up you grew up in an environment where everyone to some degree looked like you. And so while you were exposed to other cultures, you grew up in like where everyone was shades of brown, where you had, you know, your family and everybody else.
Well, yeah,
I think when you're in southern states or, you know, in different states, it's prominent because you grew up feeling different, everyone pointing out you look different. And so then you see more of the race factor or the racial factors there.
Okay,
But up in blocks or in cities or, you know, where everybody is black on this block and things like that, then it's a little bit, you have more of a luxury to not see race because one around you is black or brown or Asian or whatever.
Okay, so then let me ask you a question. Now, me and JoJo was talking about this before you and Ashy jumped in. Do you think it's good to say, oh, we had our first black president? Or should we say Barack Obama was the president? Because once we say he's the black president, isn't that racial also?
That's not racial. I mean, it's a fact. It's a fact that he was the first black president. But I mean, in the end of the day, did my social status change? Hell no. Did my bank account change? Hell no. So he was the president.
Right.
My account changed.
But yeah, he was the president. But do you think that does it perpetuate racism to say he's the first black president? Because why do we need to bring up his race then? He was just the president.
I think it does and it doesn't. It's like a double-edged sword. I think in a perfect world, we wouldn't need to say that. He would just be another president. Unfortunately, in this country, in this society, where black and brown kids did not grow up with representation of what doctors look like and psychologists and nurses and presidents and Congress people who look like them, it was this unreachable, unattainable goal. And so now being taught that there's a ceiling for you just because of the color of your skin, that creates this generational trauma, right? So by identifying, yeah, you know, it's sad that we have to say it, but by saying, hey, you can be a president because we have our first black president. This is history in this country that its bones, its inception is racist. Right. Then it's important to point it out because we need to instill that same representation that other kids have been getting through cartoons and TV shows and Congress and professional workers. They've not had to point that out because it is abundantly clear that in this society, everything that's dominant, they have been able to identify with. So now us as a culture, we need to identify this race first and then the profession, because we need to start connecting to our children. This is attainable for you, and your skin color is no longer a barrier. In a perfect world, what we're moving towards. So it can't be seen as this is racist. Like, why do you need to point that out? Well, we need to point that out. And by you saying that, not you, but by saying, why do you guys need to point that out? It shows your privilege that you've not had to identify the first white president or the first white doctor in the family because you've seen it. You've grown up seeing it. But for other kids, they might not have.
Right. And yeah, I definitely understand that point of view. But then also it's also teaching the privilege. So it's like you said, it's a double-edged sword. Because now you
consequences when you do it. It's sad that we have to do it. It's needed, but it's also it's just that double-edged sword.
Yeah. So I'm just Ashley, what do you think? You think does it hurt or help more to perpetuate it? Because it's like it's separating is actually separating us in a way too.
I said you just acknowledging it. It just is what it is. It's the fact that he was, like I said, he's the first black president. So I don't think it's hurting or helping either way. You're just stating the facts. Especially here in America. I mean, hell, like she said, this is a racist society. This is what the country was, built upon. So, I mean, it just is what it is. You're just stating the fact, hey, this is the first black president.
Right. And
move on from it.
That's a great accomplishment, right? Yeah. What about you, Joe.
It just brings me back to the comment when I ask my kids about their friends, and they'll tell me, "Oh yeah, his name is Jade," and I'm like, "Oh," and like it takes me a second, but I ask, "Are they white or black?" Like it's the same. I feel like it's the same thing. Like I know it's not, but I feel like it's the same thing. Like we don't have to acknowledge that the color of their skin to their accomplishments. You know, like as President Obama, like because he's also part white. Like he's what was he, Nigerian or African and part white, but he's still brown skin, love that brown skin. But like, he's still. I get the accomplishment, but I just don't understand. Like, I mean, I get what you're saying too. Like it makes me just feel, because whenever I ask my kids, like I said, if they're black or white,
Right. It's like,
I feel a little partial racist. Like I feel like why do I
does it
even have to
matter?
ask that? Like
Right. I mean,
why does it matter?
yeah, it's like
Exactly.
it's a tough mountain to climb, to be honest.
I feel
You
it
know?
too. Like,
Yeah.
it makes me sad when I hear it. A
Mhm.
little part of me, because I'm always thinking like, well, why do we have to point that out? And then I start to remember like, oh well, our ancestors and generations before us would be, you know, shocked that somebody either plantation or were in these roles have, you know, lived to see somebody that looked like them attain this, you know, position in society. So I think that is an accomplishment to acknowledge it. But then it kind of makes me like, oh, why do we need to point that out? Is he not human? Is he not? But then,
Right.
you know, I always
Yeah.
carry that with me, like, oh, it's important because people who look like him, regardless if he has a white mom or whatever, that brown skin would have put him in the same field as the rest of us. So it is important to acknowledge that the workforce, the people who built this country on our backs, we are now running, and I use that loosely.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Oh, hey.
I said running this country.
I
You got
like
more
it.
fingers?
If I
I
could
like
more
it. Let's
fingers.
do it. Let's all do it. Hey.
It's important to acknowledge, but it still kind of sucks.
What up, Intensify? All right, so then, okay, so now let's look at it from a different scenario. Let's say you reading a newspaper article, or well, let's not say newspaper. Let's say you see an article on the news, and they say the two black perpetrators who committed the murder. You know, but now if the perpetrators were another color, they wouldn't say black. So now, is it okay to say the race then in the negative tone? Because if we could say the first black president, then should we point out these two black men that murdered this person? We got to point out that they black, because it's all in the same vein. It's all the same thing, because you can't have it both ways.
I think so. That's one of the issues I have with Fox News, is that they do a beautiful job with saying, oh, you know, when it's black, bringing up all this negative, right? But then on the flip side, it's, oh, well, so-and-so had this. And it's just all like trying to paint a really pretty picture. That I have an issue with. But if like Al Jazeera or some type of world news, right? I like Al Jazeera because they're very fair, balanced, and it shows you global news. When they point it out, it is equal. 2 Caucasian men, 2 Asian men, 2 African American. It is very balanced. That I have no issue with. But when you take a stance and now you commit a crime as a black male, and your troubled past in kindergarten and everything up into this thug, this whatever, that I have an issue with. When it's the opposite or another ethnicity, oh, well, they were bullied in a troubled youth. Now you're troubled youth. But when you're black, now it's this thug. That I have an issue with. Like, take it out completely then if that's how we're going to play. But if we are fair,
so then shouldn't the president just be the president, not the black president?
It should be, but unfortunately, it's that double-edged sword. It's important to acknowledge. It just sucks that we need to.
Yeah.
Because okay, they wouldn't say when Joe Biden. I mean, I don't mind looking ignorant on this because I'm not big into politics. What number of president is Joe Biden? What number are we up to?
46, right? Trump was 45.
Trump was 45, so Biden is 46.
Yeah, Biden's 46.
Right. So they would never say, well, Joe Biden is the 46th white president.
Because we didn't need to, because
Yeah.
everyone up until Obama was white. And so when you have that representation,
White and male,
you don't need to point it out, because you've had that privilege of seeing it represented. But when it's somebody else, especially in this country where all minority is bad immigrants and aliens, and you've thought of everything but the child of God to give minorities in this country, and then it's like, we need to promote it. And it's just like not the same thing as politics, but just like, you know, Chloe Bailey being the first mermaid. I remember growing up saying, oh, I want to be a mermaid. And then being told, oh, you can't be that because there are no black mermaids. Like just hearing that. And so, because I was so like, it's weird that you bring up race with this Disney, it's make-believe, but hearing it, oh, you can't be that because Superman's not black. Mermaids aren't black. And so
she's not.
So wait a minute. Let me ask you a question.
That uproar,
it was
horrible.
As a black man, I would be offended if they made Superman black.
But Superman was black.
Because he's no.
They've had a black Superman.
No. Superman in his origin is not black, Jersey.
The original Superman. I'm saying they've had a black Superman.
Yeah, but the original Superman is not black. I would be offended if they say, okay, let's make Superman black. How about give us our own character?
I'm not saying make Superman black, but I'm saying when you don't have the representation and then hearing it as a young child, oh, you can't be that because black people can't be this. Spanish people can't be this. It's important to acknowledge that you can and to see it. It's important for children, because being told that you can't be this based on your skin color sucks.
Right.
And so,
well, I know.
I would not like to see a black Superman. I want our own stuff.
That's what I said.
Representation, but I'm just saying to hear that as you can't do this based on the culture. And some people don't need to say, oh, the 46th white president, because they've seen 43 other white presidents. So they get it. They know that this is what they can achieve because they've seen it throughout the decades, right? So that's why I think it's important. It still sucks, but I think it's important to say.
Dude, it's kind of like when just to put this into a sports context, you know, for decades there was always a black heavyweight champion, and then when Jerry Cooney came along, they were saying, oh, the first white heavyweight champion, potential heavyweight champion in the world. It's kind of like that, you know. It's been done for so long by a certain, you know, race of color of human. When the next one comes along, they have to talk about it.
Right, and what I'm saying is, when we talk about it that way, it's adding to the problem.
Well, it could be adding to the problem, or it could just be, you know, status quo. This is how it's always been, and this is how it's always going to be.
And then
we're conditioned.
Yeah,
exactly. We're conditioned to do it, and that's what I'm saying. I think that we should uncondition ourselves and stop saying we have a black Superman. It's just he's Superman.
Yeah.
If they happen to put a black actor as Superman, just say he's Superman. Then he's Superman.
Well, who said that? Wasn't it Idris Elba that said he wanted to stop being identified as a black actor?
A black actor, exactly.
Identified as an actor.
Right. JoJo brought up a great point. Like, we're conditioned that way, and I think we need to uncondition ourselves to get out of that, because in actuality, we're adding to the problem when we continue to do it.
Well, there's only one way. There's only one way to do it, and it goes back to the point of the show: interracial relationships. When everybody start having sex with everybody else, it ain't gonna be just one, you know, different kind. It's gonna.
He turned the show up. Ashy Larry just turned the show up, y'all. Everybody, you black, you white, you Spanish, you Chinese, you Japanese, you African, you Trinidadian, just go have sex with everybody.
Everybody's gonna be a mocha fracca paca latte or whatever the hell they serve at Starbucks.
We'll all be a one big jambalaya.
Yeah.
Sex was the answer. I knew it, but you know,
sex is always the answer.
It's always the answer.
All the time.
Sex is always the answer. Do you have is there JoJo, do you think what is I want to see if we're gonna be honest here. All right, JoJo. Expectation between what is the expectation of having sex with a black man?
Here we go.
Nope.
Let's go.
Damn, why is it gotta be the first one? Well, you
Go,
got
JoJo. It's your birthday.
Are there expectations of having sex?
Yes.
What before
Yes.
you had sex with a black man? What was the expectation of having sex with a black man?
He was gonna have the big one.
You're gonna have the big wood or the big
The
one?
big one.
The big one.
Yes.
That third leg.
This is the big one.
Tripod.
The human tripod.
I mean,
Tripod.
and he was gonna know how to like flow the motion. Like it was just gonna be like he just knew what he was doing.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Jersey, before you had sex with anyone, what was the expectation of having sex with a black man?
Same.
Same?
And the rumors is true. You know, I don't like stereotypes, but I'll say we'll take that one. And the rumors is true. So
It is.
All right. So
Amen.
Ashley Larry, before you had sex with any woman, did you think like, okay, would there be a difference between having sex with a black woman and a white woman?
Man, I didn't even give a shit. It was just as long as I was in there, and I didn't have any expectations really. Just long as I was, I was doing the right thing.
is that
Yeah.
different for men? Like, 'cause you're
Nah,
just
I had
excited-
expectations.
You're just excited to
Really?
like. In that
Yeah.
situation.
My
I was just-
expectations, I thought a white woman would be easier to please.
Nah, I was just happy to be there.
I thought a white woman would be easy. I was just happy to put it in. Nah, I'm gonna be completely honest. I thought white women was easier to please sexually.
Are they?
I've never had sex with a white woman,
Oh.
so I couldn't tell you.
I never had sex with a white man, so I can't tell you that.
I couldn't tell you.
So.
I couldn't tell you. But that's what that's now that I'm an adult, I understand that that's not true because all women are complex,
Mhm.
So it doesn't make a difference if you're white, black, Spanish, or whatever. All women are complex sexually. So, but at a young age, yeah, I thought like, okay, a black woman, a woman of color is going to be a little bit more difficult for me to please her because I felt like she was going to be a little bit more physical, a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more athletic, a little bit stronger. Where I felt like a white woman might be a little bit less aggressive, a little less, a little bit more,
Submissive.
yeah, it would have to be submissive because I said aggressive it would be the opposite end of the spectrum. So yeah, I thought a white woman would be a little bit more submissive, but now that I'm older, I realize that's not true at all. It's not true. It's not true. It is true in certain instances, but it's not true when it comes to sex.
Mhm.
Because a white woman can be just as aggressive as anyone else in the bed.
Woo.
It may be true in other instances, but I don't think it's true when it comes to sex at all. No, I don't think so. Not at all. So now, y'all both said what y'all thought about black men were true. Y'all say y'all had expectations and the expectations were fulfilled. So
Yes.
do you think that expectation can also hurt black men if they are not able to live up to that conceived expectation? Now, what if you don't? What did you say earlier, Jersey? A tripod? What if he don't walk in with the tripod? Now what? Now that man is, now that expectation going to tear his ass up because now he can't, he ain't walking in with what you expecting. So now is that a letdown or is it like maybe, I my expectations were a little bit too high? Honestly, is it a letdown? If you sleep with a black man and his penis is small, is that a letdown? Because you automatically think that he gonna be. You automatically think, okay, he gonna be Big Daddy Longstroke.
Who's answering?
Either one of y'all can whenever, however y'all want to answer.
Listen, I think anytime you have a stereotype, it has the potential to harm, even if it's a positive one, right? However, and I don't want y'all to think I'm out there having a hot girl summer because it is far from the truth.
Okay.
But when I come across a black man who don't have a tripod, I will let you know.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, so you haven't come across
either seen it or like pictures or whatever. I've not seen one yet. I think
you are a fortunate woman.
Hearing the stereotype and then just seeing it, I think black men, and this is my own personal, they're just naturally bigger.
Okay.
And I don't know what it is. I think it's our genetics. And so I think that's just not stereotyping, but I think, I guess it is kind of a stereotype. I think black men are just bigger.
Okay. I mean,
even if it's on the scale of like black men and it's on the smaller side, it's still bigger in comparison to the national average.
Right.
Have you tried the national average?
Oh, the other white meat? Is that what you
Yeah. Have you tried? No,
listen, I have been an equal opportunist in my dating years.
Well,
damn, I'm about to get us canceled, bro. This about to get us canceled, bro. So
how did we get here? Okay.
Ashy Larry started it with the sex talk, but
you asked the question.
Huh?
Yeah, Ashley started it. And
Ashley started. I wasn't talking about sex, but so what did so you said you haven't come across a black man who didn't,
or like when girls are talking like, oh, look at this or whatever. So I've always just seen it one way.
Okay, so with your experience with another race, did that person had to overcompensate in some kind of way to make up for what he wasn't, to make up for what he wasn't able to bring to the table physically?
I would say for other ethnicities, right? You always hear like, oh, white men are smaller, Asian men are smaller. And in my experience, like from what I've seen, that's not always the case. I think it's just everyone, you come in shapes and sizes. I think I talked about another one. Like this is just something like skin color. Like you can't change.
Right. So you're saying they're not smaller, but they're just smaller than a black man.
I'm sure there are black men out there who are smaller. I've just not seen it. I'm sure it exists. Just like with other ethnicities. I'm sure it exists.
Right. All right. Well, who am I to argue?
I'm sure it exists, right?
Right.
But I've just not seen it, or my girlfriends haven't really talked about it. They've told me some stories and then, oh, I had this, or this was a waste of my time, or whatever. So I've heard it, but me personally, I've not seen it.
Okay, so let me ask both of you a great question. Is there a certain race that you feel like you attract more, and is there a certain race that you feel like kind of like shies away from you more? Have you noticed? Like for me, I know that.
Oh, Ashley said he lost count, but he's gonna try to join later.
Okay. Like as for me, I know that I've never had a Chinese woman approach me in any way, shape, or form. I don't think any Chinese or Japanese woman has been sexually attracted to me ever. And I've known a couple closely, and I don't think any of them have ever been attracted to me sexually. So I would say Chinese or Japanese, definitely not checking for your boy. So have either one of you ever experienced where it's like this ethnic group is not checking for me at all? Brooklyn Girl 44 is in the building, walked in. She didn't even say hello. She just walked in laughing at your boy, Little Fat Mushy.
No.
What up, Brooklyn Girl? Welcome to the stream. All right. So yeah.
Check for, as men, who has checked for you the most, and who have you felt checked for you the least?
Exactly. Who's checked for you the most, and who's checked for you the least? I would say who's checked for me the most. Obviously, my beautiful Nubian sisters, black women. Who's checked for me the least? Asian, Oriental. Maybe I don't want to offend nobody, y'all. I'm not trying to offend.
They're using Oriental anymore. I think it's just Asian.
Asian,
Yeah,
okay,
just
Asian.
Asian.
I'm not. I don't want to offend nobody. I'm not really sure on the terminology. So
Yeah,
if
I
it's
think it's just
Asian okay, I'm gonna just go with Asian. So anyone of the Asian persuasion, not checking for your boy. I can tell you that right now.
okay. Joe.
Joe. Okay, thanks.
She set you up again, JoJo. Made you go.
Thanks. Thank you. So who checked for me the most? Definitely Black men.
Okay.
I have this like exotic feature
Right.
that I think that attracts them. But I've been very like blinded. I don't see anybody else checking for me. So I don't know if anyone checks for me of the
You know
other,
who
like, the other
does,
races.
but you're not sure who does it.
So
Yes,
who has
so-
approached you the most? Black men.
Black men, I've had white men come approach me, but they're just, I feel like they're just so like they're shy about it, like, so they just like they're subtle, and I do
Yeah, like,
see like
I want to ask
they're
this.
like
I got a good question after this. Go ahead,
okay.
JoJo.
I do see them like trying to flirt, but they're very subtle about it. So like it's not like, I don't know. I can't really tell if they're just being nice or if they're flirting with me. So yeah, that's it. Like Spanish men, they just, no, I'm lying. As I gotten older, I've seen them like really come at me, but it's just because I have the exotic feature. I know I have that exotic look, so it's just what it is. So yeah.
What about you, Jersey? Who's checking for you the most, and who's checked for you the least?
I think it's the opposite. I have blinders on because I'm so nice and friendly, because I have to like channel my extrovert when I'm out in public and talking to people. And of course, being a doctor doesn't really help that I'm so introverted. So I have to like armor up with some extroversion and be friendly to everybody. So I feel like everybody is just being nice to me. And so I don't know if people are flirting, because I feel like that they're just being nice. But as far as like approaching me in a romantic way, I feel like it's been a lot of Pacific Islanders. Like, you've been out here in Hawaii, right? And so, and they're very blunt, straight to the point. Let me get your number. Let me XYZ. I've had a lot of white men, Asian men, be straight to the point. I've said who've checked for me the least, and I don't know if it's location, because I'm out here in Hawaii, or just growing up, I felt like Black men have checked for me the least, or have been very shy when approaching me. And so I'm like, oh, I don't like, are you trying to date me? I don't know what's going on. Are you just engaging in conversation? Are you talking about, because other people, other cultures have, oh, let me get your number. Let's go out. Let's do this. Where I've experienced the opposite. And so for a long time, I thought, oh, Black men are just not attracted to me, because I just never experienced somebody coming up to me and saying, hey, I like you. Let's do this, X, Y, and Z. So I just thought to myself, oh, I'm just not their cup of tea, which is fine.
They're bad.
Ashy, Larry, what about you, bro? Who's checked for you the most, and who's checked for you the least, or who hasn't checked for you at all? Like for me, Asian woman hasn't checked for me at all. Ever. Hopefully you have more fortune than I, but who's checked for you more, and out of your experiences, who's checked for you the least or not at all?
I'm not trying to sound like Casanova. But you see,
when you started off that way.
But you see what's under my name. So I'm just saying. Now, don't get it twisted. Again, I'm not out here land sharking these women. Never was, never will be. But, where I went to high school, it was multicultural. So it was across the board. Okay. So, I mean, even when I moved to Texas, oh God, it was crazy. Because I came down here flossing.
Right.
Young black man driving a convertible car. Oh, let's see what he's all about.
Right.
So it was just across the board. It wasn't like it was just one particular, because everywhere that I've lived, everywhere that I went to school, it was, except for when I was in California where I lived, it was mainly just a black neighborhood. But where I went to school, it was multicultural. When I came to Texas, of course, it's multicultural down here. I didn't live off in the hood or anywhere here in Texas. Where I work, it's multicultural. So it was just across the board, everybody. It wasn't just one single. Now, as far as what I attracted was, of course, it was just more black people because I'm black. So that was just obvious. But yeah, it was all across the board.
Damn, bro, you fortunate.
Fortunate. What did Maxwell say? You know?
If you want to sing it, you can sing it, bro.
To have you, girl.
Sing it, Joe.
You're in my world.
There you go. Yes, she was.
Fortunate, bro. I was not that fortunate, bro. I mean, I done had some good fortune bestowed upon me, but I ain't been that fortunate. Not 31 flavors.
Nah,
I done had like only 3 flavors, bro.
there ain't nothing wrong with that. Not at all.
I done had multiple scoops.
Nothing wrong with that.
I done had multiple scoops of those 3 flavors, but shit, I only had about 3 flavors. I ain't gonna hold you.
Jersey, it's been killing me though. Like, what specialty are you in?
Clinical psychology.
Oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we gotta talk. Okay, that's a different discussion.
8,000 years of school later.
Like, that's totally my thing. Okay, no, we're not talking about that. We're not gonna.
Okay, so
turn on, just to let you know.
Hold up.
Hold up. Let's change the topic of the show.
What's going on? Oh Lord, wait a minute. This is not a family show no more, y'all. Hold on.
That's the second time you said that today. Hold on, wait a minute. That's the second time.
Close enough to Freaky Friday. Let's get it.
Oh, bring back Freaky Friday.
The way we used to be talking on Ustream, nah, we get canceled like that now. Okay, so wait a minute. Let me ask. For some reason, the chat, I don't know if the chat is frozen or what's going on. Sometimes
No, it's moving. It's moving.
I'm not seeing it at all. I'm not seeing nobody, unfortunately.
No.
Brooklyn girl just made a comment.
I seen Brooklyn girl. She said, "Wait."
Wait,
Before
that's
that,
the last thing she said. Yeah.
Okay, I don't know if I'm missing the comments because my internet froze out for a second. But Brooklyn girl, we're gonna ask you the question, and also any Brooklyn girl, you can ask us a question. You know, if you want to send us a question, you could ask us whatever question you like. But the question I have for you is, out of the different cultural backgrounds, who's checked for you the most and who's checked for you the least? Right, that's the question that I have for you, Brooklyn girl. And also, if you want to throw a question to us, feel free. So, let me ask you this: when what do you think about? What do you think about when, let's say, like a lot of people have problems when black celebrities, they get famous, and they tend to stray away from their own?
It's still the same thing. The heart wants what the heart wants. It's like, it's not like when they get flack for loving who they want to love. I don't think it's unless it's like a plot, like to get like, you know, gain or whatever, like just to be seen or whatever, the type kind of thing. That's wrong. But like if it's like true love, like let them live. Like they're loving each other. Like the heart wants who the heart wants. Like whether it's a male against a male, a female against a female, a white male against a black male, whatever. Like whatever the thing is, it's like the heart is going to love who they like. The soul connects to the soul, and that's how I feel. Like it's.
But why do you think that happens? Like as they get successful, they start to steer away from their own people. Why don't
Because
they steer?
people like to talk shit.
Why does it seem like with the success they tend to start to steer away, but when they're not as successful, it doesn't seem that way. It seems like once the success hit, then it's kind of like, just like Kanye said, and leave your ass for a white girl. Like, why do you think that is the case with the
I think
success?
because as they become successful, their lives are put on a pedestal, on standby, like are just like out there. So like they're being seen. Like you don't know what this person is attracted to. Like you don't know what he was attracted to prior
Well,
to. So like now that he's out there and he's making money and he's being seen and he's stepping out, like he has this girl on his hand, like that's who
well,
you see.
in a lot of instances, we do know what he once was attracted to.
Do we?
Yeah. Look at Michael Jordan. His wife was black, but look who he's with now. That he's a billionaire.
What was the question? Ask the question again.
I said, what do you think about? I said, why do you think that as a lot of black men become more successful, they start to they'll come up with a black woman,
Right.
and the black woman will be by their side, and then as they get more and more successful, they steer away, and they may end up with a different cultural background woman as they become more successful. Why do you think that happens?
I think that can happen for a variety of reasons. I think like what Joe was saying, one of those reasons could be that for whatever reason, him and that woman didn't work out and they matched better with someone else of another ethnicity. But the other option too for our society, because the pairing of white and black was illegal, right, for so long, that has become like a not like a fetish, but like
a trophy.
Our trophy, or
Yeah.
like this is a status now that I can attain something that we couldn't have. And so for the longest time, right, when you Google beauty or wealth or whatever, the first 5 pages were of Caucasian women, of white women. So white was the standard. It was the standard for success, for beauty, that you made it. And so they feel like, or it was this assumption that if I can have this white woman on my arm, then now I have the status that I have made it in society because I have the profession, I have the wealth, and now I have the status of beauty, which the standard of beauty, which is white women. And I think now it's shifted to society highlighting, at least black culture, highlighting some of the black athletes and black actors, etc., who are married to black women. And so we're highlighting and then emphasizing this black love, and that, here are all the people who have stayed within their culture. And so that can be, again, that double-edged sword. But for a while, that white was the standard of beauty, of success, that you made it. And so now it's like, oh, you rode with me so long, but now I got to look the part. And having you on my arm ain't looking the part.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about you, Ashy, Larry, but growing up, a white woman definitely wasn't the standard of beauty in my eyes.
Well, I mean, if you look at it like from a society point of view, what did you see on TV that was pushed in front of you every day that you lived?
I saw a Penny on Good Times, and I thought she was the most beautiful woman I've ever seen in my life. And
but for the most part, you saw young white women, blonde hair, blue eyes. That's what you hear about in all the newspapers, TV articles, blah 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 blah. It was pushed on you.
Right
now,
but
as
it wasn't the epitome of it. It didn't. Well, it might not have been.
It might not have been the epitome of what you were thinking. But as you got older, you saw the beauty in other people.
Beauty in all women.
Yeah, of course you do. I'm just saying, as you got older, you saw the beauty that was actually, for real, not just what was pushed on you in front of on a TV set.
I mean, I don't know. I don't think the TV and when I understand what you're saying, and
TV was the social media back then. It's an influencer, so it pushed that image on you. But as you got older, you get to make your own decisions. You get wiser to the subject. So hey, this black woman, man, why isn't she? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
What's going on, bro? Welcome to the stream.
What up, Herschel?
I was asking you because me and you are around the same age. Me and you are around the same age range, and I can honestly say, like, I'm sitting here thinking back, and I'm trying to recollect, like, okay, when I'm thinking about when I was young, all the beautiful women when I was young, they were all women of color. I don't want to say they was all black, but they was all women of color to me. The only when I was young, let me see, let me really think about it. The only white woman that I used to see that I thought was really beautiful, and I still think she's beautiful to this day, was Dolly Parton.
Yeah, she's
Dolly Parton was the only where I was like,
yeah.
wow, she's pretty. But everybody else was all women of color when I was young. To be honest, I didn't see it. I didn't get that side of it. Maybe because I was in Harlem. I don't know.
Well, no, I mean, what I'm trying to say is like when you turn the TV on, all the TV shows,
Oh yeah, I seen it. Farrah Fawcett.
Farrah Fawcett, all these, whatever white women, blonde hair, long beautiful blonde hair, whatever. The first time you picked up a porno magazine, what'd you see? A white woman or a videotape.
Yep.
A white woman. You had to dig for that black. You had to dig for that black woman. At least I did. So,
she got dug.
Yeah, that's another show.
I think that's so true. Like even older generations will say, "Oh, social media," but it's like you guys had a social media, not you two, but you guys had a social media of your time. It was TV and magazines and newspapers. You always saw the same standard of beauty, which was
exactly.
white. And so you did have it. It just wasn't online, but it was all around you. And so girls grew up relaxing their hair because what was the standard of beauty?
Exactly.
White hair, or the makeup, right? So that's why Fenty Beauty is $1 billion company, because the standard of beauty was makeup that catered toward fair skin. And where did we see that? In magazines and TVs and commercials. And so it was always pushed everywhere. And so you did have it. It just wasn't on a Instagram platform or a Facebook platform.
I don't think that it was marketed towards men then. It might have been marketed. Huh?
I said men you have your own, you're just happy to be participants in some type of encounter that involves.
Hold on, wait. Hold on. No. We can't let you say that. Hold on, I'm not letting you. We just happy to be participants. We not participants.
When it comes to like beauty and makeup, like you didn't care about that stuff.
No, I do care about it.
No, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about in general. Men don't care about, what foundation is your makeup and what shade is that lipstick. In general, that's not what you were paying attention to. But we as women were. So if I went in there and be like, "Oh, you like this foundation," a man could give a shit, right? Right. You're just in the relationship. So you might not have seen it because you weren't the intended target for this.
Right. That's why I said they was marketing it towards y'all. It wasn't marketing it to us at all.
I was more worried about was it poisonous when I was taking it off with, but anyway.
Is it gonna get on my shirt and my clothes?
Get you in trouble.
No, but dude, like, first time seeing a Jet magazine, I was like, flipping pages, reading it. And I was like, wait a minute, they have a black woman in here that's gorgeous.
Lola Falana.
I can't believe you just said it because I was just looking her up yesterday.
Yeah, bro, Lola Falana.
Just yesterday.
I love me some Lola Falana. Let's not forget about Pam Grier. Remember the first time I saw that? Goodness. Good Lord, have mercy.
And like you said, like Deontay Wilder said, to this day. To this day.
And, wait. I take that back. There is one woman that was pushed upon all of us as the epitome of beauty. Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah.
She was the one that I, even as a young boy, of all the beautiful black women, Marilyn Monroe was the one that it seemed like they wanted everyone to see her as the epitome. She was, I forgot to, and I'm not taking away from the fact that she was a very beautiful woman. She was very beautiful, but I forgot to mention her. She was the one. When I said, I didn't really see any woman marketed toward, no, there was one. Marilyn Monroe was the one. Marilyn Monroe, Farrah Fawcett, and Brooke Shields. Those were the three when I was growing up. That was like those are the cats meow right there. And they're all very beautiful women, but they didn't appeal to me. They just didn't appeal to me the way I think that they thought it would appeal to me as a man. I like me Janet Jackson and Apollonia and Jodie Watley.
Exactly. See, when I became a teenager and I'm around, I start seeing girls developing these hips and excuse my French, titties, and I'm like, you titties, yeah, tiggle bitties. Let's say it that way.
Get canceled again, y'all.
Tiggle bitties, and
canceled.
And and I'm not slighting a certain culture, but flat asses, that's what was being pushed on us. And then when I start seeing these round mouths, I was like, wait a minute, what's this? This is something new. Let's see what this is all about. Quit laughing at me, Joe.
I had just asked yesterday. I was thinking, how do men develop a preference for what they like? Do you just see, you see a whole woman's figure, but how do you decide, oh, I am a legs man, I am an ass man, I am a breast man? Like, how do you guys make that?
Because the first time you see it in action, it grabs your attention.
Right.
The first time, and the first time you grab one, it grabs your attention.
I got a special connection with these titties.
Yeah,
I like all titties now.
When I'm grabbing something, I don't want to feel bone. I want to feel some meat. And go ahead. Yeah, don't get me into another subject here. Hold on.
To answer the question, once I was able to experience, I always could look and see and know what I like, but once I really understood what it is that I was truly attracted to is once I was able to interact with the woman physically myself, not looking at a TV screen or a magazine or videotape or nothing. Like once I was able to deal with a woman who was not a little girl, not somebody when I was young and we both 14, 15. I'm talking about as I started to become older, 18, 19, 20, and the women are more developed.
Yeah.
I was able to determine for myself what it is that I was attracted to, not what they were telling me I should be attracted to. I knew what I liked.
Yeah.
But I had to interact with the woman intimately, romantically to come to that determination for myself. So it didn't click for me if I was an ass man or a hips man or a breast man until I was actually interacting with the woman intimately. And then I knew what it is that I like. I know what it is that pleased me, and I knew what it was that I could do to a woman to please her. So it all kind of like fell into place naturally. I was never really motivated by what they told me I should like. I had to learn it on my own.
Yeah.
Brooklyn Girl said something there that's I kind of agree with what she just said. With Sir Mix-a-Lot, put it on the map, and that's part of that programming, social media, TV.
True.
Yeah, he did.
And then but that's why
it circles back around too. Like it'll being curvy will come back in style, and then it'll go back to being slim again. Then they go back to being curvy again. So yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
That's why BBLs are $1 billion businesses in society today, because people want that ass.
Right. What you was gonna say, JoJo?
This is true. Well, I like what you were saying. I'm attracted to height. So like I'm an Amazon woman. Like I'm 5'8", so I'm tall. So like you gotta be up there to make me feel small. So like that's just what I like. Like that's just who I am. And I jumped the line when God was creating me. I jumped the line for the boobies twice, and I missed the calling for the ass. So I got what I got. So it is what it is.
And I think when they were handing out the titties, my cup running.
Watch out now. Hold on. Wait a minute.
Of all the things we have talked about,
don't let us spill out.
But hey, we all the same. We all the same size laying down. So get it what you get it. Shit.
Yeah, you always have a flat stomach laying down. That's for sure.
fortunate, and my cup has runneth over in both departments.
Cue up the fortunate song again, please.
Oh, yeah.
This ass got its own zip code, and so
Can you send me some? Send me some via like the mail because I'm lacking.
All of it. But I do gotta go though,
just-
so I appreciate it. But don't you do it. So,
Nah.
you know,
I'm gonna spare you tonight. I appreciate
it. This has been fun. All of them. I enjoy all of the podcasts I share with Tove after the all of the streams I share with him after they're over. But I truly enjoy it, especially, you know, with all of you guys and my BFF Joe, my secret wife. So so yeah, thank you guys for having me. I do gotta run though, but I'll be in the comments.
All right. Thank you so much, Jersey Devil.
Peace out.
Have a wonderful weekend.
Okay.
All right.
Oh wait, what's today? Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, because I'm not going.
Yeah.
The show is over for this week. You know, like until the weekend. So enjoy your weekend. All right.
You guys too.
All right. Stay blessed. Stay beautiful. All right. Unity. All right. Later. All right. So yeah. I'm gonna go ahead. Yeah, I gotta go ahead and we're gonna wrap it up. But because I just looked at the time. I'm like, damn, time be flying when we on here talking.
I know.
It really be flying.
Like,
2 hours. It don't seem like we've been talking for 2 hours for real.
it does not.
But the reason why I wanted to bring up this topic is at the end of the day is what I said. I said this on a couple of shows before. I wish we could live in a world where we didn't see color. But unfortunately, it is the world that we live in. At some point, we're going to have to try to figure out what we can do to try to change it. You know, will it ever change? Probably not. Can we make a dent in it? Maybe so. You know, but there's a lot of things that we do subconsciously that we don't even take notice to, that can add to the problem. And I think that we just need to be conscious of those things. And like Ashy Larry said, you know, we are all of the human race. Look at each other for the people that we are. Look at each other for the men and women that we are. And then once you get comfortable with those things, then start to learn about the person's ethnic background. But at the forefront, learn that woman, learn that man, at the forefront, learn the person, then learn the woman or the man, and then then dig a little bit deeper. Because at the end of the day, if someone breaks up with you because of your race, then you should not be with that person. If someone doesn't want to be with you because of your race, you do not want to be with that person anyway. So they should be taking time to really get to know you as a person, as a man or as a woman. And then everything else, your background, the things that you've been through in your past, if you have children, what kind of money you make, all of those things will fall into place. But at the forefront, I believe should be get to know me as a person, then get to know me as a man, and then get to know everything else behind that. And if you get through those 3 layers, then we should be on the road to a relationship or at least a good friendship. When all those other things get put in the front, sometimes the person that you are gets lost behind all of it, and then you end up missing out on a lot of good people. Friendship wise, romantically, business partners, whatever it may be. So that's what I would say to anyone who's watching this show. You know, love who you love. Love doesn't see a color. You know, so if you love someone, respect them, treat them equally, but most importantly, try to your best to understand each other's points of views, understand their world, and and allow them to understand your world without being aggressive. You don't understand where I'm coming from. Well, take time because it's such a triggering point for so many people that it automatically brings that aggression. You know, it's a trigger for so many of us. But the only way we're going to be able, and the racism in the world that we live in is perpetuated and fueled by a lot of hate. We're going to have to try to at least subdue it with love and understanding and communication. I like to have all these conversations and they can go all different directions. But at the end of the show, I always like to come back and say, look, let's try to figure out how we can make this work out individually. And if each individual does it, then maybe it'll get a little bit better for the masses. All right, Joe, you want to say anything in closing? I ain't gonna bring you to the front of the stage. I'm gonna let you.
Communication is.
I'm gonna take it easy tonight. I ain't gonna bring nobody to the front of the stage. I'm gonna be cool tonight. Cool. Cause Hev is not here for me to bring him to the front of the stage first. So I'm gonna be cool tonight.
Yeah. The biggest thing is I want to say is communication is key. So like you were saying, the heart and the soul loves who they want to. So you can't like knock it. But the next thing I want to say is never, if you're in the South, never let anyone bless your heart. It's not a good thing. I got my heart blessed, and they were calling me stupid behind my back, and I thought they were just being nice to me. So that's just my little pro tip when you come to the South.
Yeah.
Never let anyone bless your heart.
Yeah.
When they say, "Oh, bless your heart," no, that's an insult.
That's an insult
your heart.
for
It's
sure.
an insult.
Well, I learned something new today.
I had no, and it was an old church.
Well, bless your heart.
Told me this, y'all. Like it was an old church lady. She was like, "Bless your heart," and I'm like, "Oh, they like me. I'm a traveler. Like, oh, they like me. I'm new to this place." And then someone did something really stupid, and she was like, "Oh, bless his heart." I was like, "Oh, you're calling me stupid this whole time?" Yeah. So yeah,
right.
Never let anyone.
All
bless
right,
your heart.
JoJo with the great pro tip for the Southerners. Ashley, you got any closing words, bro?
No, you guys pretty much summed it up. I don't need to regurgitate what you guys said, but just shout out to that one lurker that came by tonight. Appreciate that.
Okay, Ashy Larry, you got the surveillance. Yo, I'm telling y'all, anybody that's lurking in the comments, Ashy can see you in the Oculus. Ashy in the Oculus, he can see all the way into outer space with that Oculus. I'm telling you. All right, so I want to say thank you to everybody who joined tonight. Thank you, JoJo. Thank you, Ashy Larry. Thank you to everyone in the comment section, and also thank you to Jersey Devil. I want y'all to have a wonderful weekend. Stay blessed, stay beautiful, and it's your boy Little Fat Mushy Toe representing the WCIS. We can inspire someone. OPP, only promote positivity. Shout out to Waterbed Hev, and shout out to Aaron said, "I am the lurker." Nah, that's not who. I know that's not who Ashley was talking about. But shout out to my man Broadway Aaron.
Yeah, shout out to Broadway.
Representing the WCIS. We can inspire someone. OPP, only promote positivity. Shout out to Waterbed Hev. Shout out to Uncle DV. And shout out to the community. That's all about unity. All right, everybody, have a wonderful weekend. I want y'all to stay blessed, stay beautiful. Most importantly, stay positive. It's your boy, Little Fat Mushy Toe, and I'm out. Peace out, y'all.
Peace out, y'all.
All right, later.